Hello everyone, welcome to you all in your trustworthy educational channel SOURO SHIKSHA। আজকের ভিডিওতে আলোচনা করব সাবজেক্ট ইংলিশ যারা আগামী পরশু অর্থাৎ মানডেতে এক্সাম দিতে চলেছো তাদের জন্য বেশ কিছু ওয়ান লাইনার ইম্পর্টেন্ট অর্থাৎ শর্ট কোয়েশ্চেন। তো শর্ট কোয়েশ্চেনই তো আমাদের ম্যাক্সিমাম নাম্বার ওঠে, তাই না? এছাড়া পোয়েট্রি সেকশন থেকে কিছু শর্টস ভিডিও আমরা আপলোড করেছি, সেগুলো তোমরা ইতিমধ্যে যে পরে দেখে নাও। এই ভিডিওতে লিঙ্ক দেওয়া থাকবে, অবশ্যই সেই লিঙ্ককে ক্লিক করে তোমরা সেই শর্টস ভিডিওগুলো দেখে নাও, তাহলে পোয়েট্রি পেপার থেকে যে এলএকিউগুলো আসবে সেগুলো তোমাদের অলরেডি রেডি হয়ে যাবে। হলো, এছাড়া আজকের ভিডিওতে শর্ট কোয়েশ্চেনগুলো দিচ্ছি আমরা, আর এলএকিউ তো হয়ে গেছে। এছাড়া রিডিং কম্প্রিহেনশন আনসিন বলো বা গ্রামার অ্যান্ড ভোকাবুলারি বলো, সেগুলো তো তোমাদের প্র্যাকটিসের উপর ডিপেন্ড করবে। তো আজকের ভিডিওতে যেগুলো আলোচনা করব সেগুলো অতি অবশ্যই তোমাদের কাছে ফ্রুটফুল হবে। ভিডিওটি না টেনে পুরোটা দেখার অনুরোধ রইল এবং সাবস্ক্রাইব করে দিও যাতে এইরকম নিত্য নতুন ভিডিও তোমরা খুব শীঘ্র পেতে পারো এবং বন্ধুদের মধ্যে শেয়ার করে দিও। চলো শুরু করছি আজকের ভিডিও। লেটস স্টার্ট। Where was the house of APJ Abdul Kalam situated? APJ Abdul Kalam's house was situated on the Mosque Street in Rameswaram. Next, what do people do when they reach in impasse? Impasse means difficult situation. When human beings reach in an impasse, they look for someone who would bring them out from crisis. What made the hermit breathe heavily? The hermit breathed heavily because he was well beyond the ability and age to dig the soil. Next, why did the jar want to receive the answer to his three questions? The jar wanted to receive the answer to his three questions as he thought they would help him succeed in each work. Next, which month is the best time for visiting hills? The girl in the eyes have it opines that opine মানে মন্তব্য করা October is the best time for visiting hills. What compliment did the narrator give to the girl about the face? না কি বলবো, the blind narrator used a safe compliment interesting to describe the face of the girl. Why did the Roger want to thank Mrs. Luella Bates? Roger wanted to thank Mrs. Bates for making him realize that the path he was taking was not the right one. Next, where did Mrs. Jones work? Mrs. Bates worked in a hotel beauty shop. Eta hoye gelo set 1. Next, what do the two red holes signify? In Arthur Rimbaud's Asleep in the Valley, the two red holes signify two bullet wounds in form of blood spots. Next, where are the feet of the soldier? The soldier of the feet, but the feet of the soldier or the soldier's feet are among the flowers. Next, what is the most sensitive part of a tree? G. Patel considers the root of a tree to be the most sensitive part. Not so much pain will do it. What task does the word it refer to? Ki bolbo answer? The word it refers to killing of a tree by hacking and chopping. Who takes the lead in summer luxury? In Keats' sonnet, The Poetry of Earth, a grasshopper is said to take the lead in summer luxury. A voice will run, whose voice? The voice of a grasshopper floating in the air is referred to here. What will make the beauty of the poet's friend eternal? The lines of the sonnet that Shakespeare paints will eternally arrest his friend's beauty. What shall death not brag in Shakespeare's sonnet number 18? Shakespeare claims that death will never be able to snatch his friend and drag him into the den of mortality. Next, how is the smile of the soldier? The smile of the soldier is an infant and gentle and guileless. What are the insects in the poem doing in the valley? The insects of the poem Asleep in the Valley are humming around the flowers in the valley. What is likely to rise close to the ground when the tree is hacked and chopped? One or two green twigs. New sprouts are likely to crop up close to the ground even when the tree is hacked to death. Why does the poet advise to check on the growth of the miniature bough? The poet mockingly warns the woodcutters to nip the twigs in the bud, lest they should turn into a full-fledged tree once again. Why does Shakespeare say that the beauty of his friend will never fade? The poet says that the beauty of his friend will never fade, as he is confident that his friend's beauty, once versified, will be remembered by the future generations. What do the raw poets do? The raw poets do the shake the darling birds of May. What happens to the birds in summer? The hot summer noon, birds feel tired and seek shelter under the cooling trees. From where does the cricket song emerge? The shrill cry of the cricket emerges from near the hearth or the fireplace in the winter evening. Next. What is the best time? According to the narrator Ruskin Bond's story, the eyes of it is the best time to visit the hills is October. Sentence লেখার টেকনিকগুলো ভালো করে বুঝবে। Where did Mrs. Jones work? এগুলো তো অলরেডি একবার বললাম। ম্যাক্সিমাম সেটে কোশ্চেনগুলো রিপিট হয়েছে, যেগুলো সব টেস্ট পেপারের প্র্যাকটিস সেট। নেক্সট চলে আসবো, what does the phrase earth cave refer to? As in a cave dweller hides himself, so underneath the earth's surface the root of a tree lie hidden. How does the stream look? In Arthur Rimbaud's sonnet Asleep in the Valley, the crystalline stream flows, leaving long strands of silver in the bright grass. Next. How is the gold complexion of the sun dimmed? The sun's gold complexion is dimmed either when it sets in the west and when patches of clouds, layers of fog cover it. Where do all the birds hide? All the birds hide in the leafy shelter in the cooling trees. What scorch and choke the tree? The sun and the air scorch and choke the tree. Why does the poet ask nature to keep the soldier warm? As the young soldier lies in the open valley, exposed to the elements, he may catch cold. What causes the bark of a tree to bleed? Hacking and chopping cause the bark of a tree to bleed. How does the poet bring out the innocence of the soldier? The poet brings out the innocence of the soldier in Asleep in the Valley by describing his smile, which is like an infant's gentle without guile. Where does the grasshopper rest? The grasshopper rests at edge beneath some pleasant weed. Which part of the tree is the most sensitive? The root. How long will the young man be remembered in Shakespeare's sonnet 18? The young man in Shakespeare's sonnet number 18 will be remembered as long as the verse of the poet that he writes in his memory will last. From where is the shrill song of the cricket heard? In the poetry of art, the shrill song of the cricket can be heard from the stove. Why is the soldier pale? The soldier is pale because he is actually a dead man lying in green sun-soaked bed of the valley. Next. At which station did the blind girl get into the train? The blind girl got into the train at Rohana. Who was the high priest of Rameswaram temple? Pakshi Lakshman Sastri. What were there behind the screen in Mrs. Jones's room? There were a gas plate and an ice box behind the screen in Mrs. Jones's room. Where did the Tsar fall asleep? Being tired, the Tsar fell asleep on the threshold of the hermit's cottage. Who would receive the blind girl at the destination? The blind girl's aunt would receive her at the destination. In whom did Abdul Kalam's father have an ideal helpmate? Abdul Kalam's austere father, Jainul Abdin, found an ideal helpmate in his mother, Asiyamma. Why did Roger want to snatch the large purse of Mrs. Jones? As Roger longed to buy a pair of blue suede shoes, he had decided to snatch the large purse of Mrs. Jones. What was the hermit doing when the Tsar came to visit him? When the Tsar came to visit the hermit, the latter was digging the ground in front of his heart. আশা করি বোঝা গেছে। ঠিক আছে, এগুলো ভালো করে লক্ষ্য করো এবং চ্যানেলটা অতি অবশ্যই সাবস্ক্রাইব করে রাখো, যাতে আপকামিং ডেজও তোমরা এরকম ফ্রুটফুল ভিডিও আশা করব ভিডিওটা সম্পূর্ণ বোঝা গেল। এবং আগামী পরশু দিন আমরা তোমাদের মন্তব্যের অপেক্ষায় রইলাম যে কীরকম কার এক্সাম হলো। রেজাল্ট তো অবশ্যই ভালো হবে, কমন তো তোমরা পাবেই, বাট কমনের জন্য তো হবে না, তোমাদেরকে আগে টেস্টগুলো পড়তে হতো, তাই না? আমাদের একাডেমিতে অনলাইন ক্লাসেরও ব্যবস্থা রয়েছে। তোমরা যারা ভিডিওটা দেখছো তারা অতি অবশ্যই কমেন্ট সেকশনে লিখে জানাও যদি তোমরা অনলাইন ক্লাস করতে ইচ্ছুক হও। ঠিক আছে, তাহলে কি হবে, আমরা পুরো বছরের গাইডলাইনটা তোমাদের প্রোভাইড করতে পারবো। তো তবুও লাস্ট মিনিট সাজেশনে তোমাদের যতটুকু হেল্প করতে পারি তো অতি অবশ্যই আমরা সেই ক্ষেত্রে উপকৃত হব। ওকে, খুব শীঘ্র দেখা হবে নেক্সট ভিডিও নিয়ে। টাটা।